Hello, Sai. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad we're finally able to get connected.
It's an honor for me to connect you. Kira. Thank you very much again for giving me opportunity to present you on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I've gone through your profile. I can see you're doing great work. So I thought to tell about your work to my audience.
It will be a pleasure. Where should we start?
So before that, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Kira Shishkin, and I'm the CEO of Informed.Now, which is a project mostly based in North America that aims to put the power of facts back in the palm of every person, everyday people. We do that by running news research that removes noise such as advertisement, um, solicitations, sensationalism, clickbait, bias from the news. And we deliver our news research through SMS to our readers across North America. We also serve globally, but not through SMS. We serve globally through email. But our flagship product, which is the SMS product, is North America only. With that goal, we are the leading provider of news by SMS in North America, and we're working very hard each day to win trust and to build out our mission to remove noise from news.
You're based in? You're from?
I'm originally from Ukraine, but I grew up in Israel before coming to the United States.
So it is based in United States.
Yes,
And which location?
in California.
So who are your clients?
Um, our readers, people who subscribe to our news research, are everyday people of the broadest range. We started out the company initially targeting professional elite, people who are investors, traders, financiers, entrepreneurs, board members, etc. But over time, we've expanded our reach to cover people who may be farmers, maybe they're working in the service industry, maybe they're recent immigrants, students, academics. So it's become a much larger range of people who seek better news. And so, although we started with a much more defined niche, we have expanded now to serve just everyday people living in the United States and Canada.
So how it is helping readers?
I think that the best way to describe it is that reading news today is really overwhelming and really stressful for a lot of people. There's a lot of sensationalism, right? So things being dramatized for no good reason. There's a lot of kind of screaming happening in the news itself, right? People are fighting, people are talking at each other. There's a lot of political, ideological bias that's constantly competing. And so for everyday people reading news today, it's very exhausting, right? Because they have to filter through all this noise of people fighting, people manipulating, people influencing each other through political bias, but also just reading it on its own is extremely exhausting because there is a lot of verbosity, right? Stories take up more space than they need to. There's a lot of sensationalism where everything is being strategically and tactically dramatized, which makes the news reading experience, much more difficult because to get to the facts, to get what's actually happening, you have to go through a lot of filtering. So what we do as a company, as a team, is we do that news research and that filtering for our readers so that they get the product of news research as opposed to another sensationalized story or another politically biased fairy tale. They get factual news reporting run with a research perspective.
What kind of news that you actually have done?
We focus on world-changing world news. So we cover the whole world in our coverage, and we focus on the most significant items that we determine to be most impactful on the world condition on the human condition in the world. The way we evaluate that is by first is the scale of change. Usually we're looking at scales of changes that affect millions of people. And secondary is we look at the magnitude of change, and that is how drastic is the change in people's lives. We usually look at changes in security, changes in confidence, changes in safety, changes in optionality of millions of households. And so changes like that tend to be economic, political, around private and public markets. They tend to be around healthcare, science, technology, things that really shape the human condition in fundamental ways and affect millions of people's livelihoods.
Tell us about your team.
We hire researchers, so we look at the research skill set. That's what we cultivate. Our team is, highly trained in what we call the OSINT terminology, which is called open source intelligence, and is a framework developed by the CIA in the United States from a few decades ago. And it is a research approach to triangulating public information from publicly available sources in ways that is very effective, right? So you're able to get to the truth efficiently, quickly, and with the highest standard of quality. So that is the skill set that we look for when we hire for the team. That's also the skills that we train up and cultivate among our team. And so our research team is really geared around research, not journalism or not creative writing. Look specifically at the research skill set.
So, who all working on this in this project?
So I have a team that I mentioned that mostly is a team of researchers that specialize in news research, which is what we specialize in. We also have a range of interns that we hire year round. We have a range of growth marketing people who work with us on various types of marketing initiatives to bring our story and kind of make ourselves available to other people, make ourselves visible. And so I actually spend a lot of the time personally on the marketing side, on telling our story and sharing it with the world, rather than on the research, because that's something I used to lead, and now my team is doing that a lot more autonomously, where I can focus on sharing our story and sharing the work that we're doing with people.
There must be a strong reason for you to start this. What is that motivation and what that idea actually made you to start this?
Totally. There definitely is, there needs to be a strong reason to start this because it's been really hard, right? It's hard to build a company, it's hard to cultivate a team, and it's hard to, embark on a mission that is pretty challenging, and it's an uphill battle through and through. So my motivation was that I witnessed what I call misinformation overload throughout the course of my life. I witnessed it as I was growing up in Ukraine, then I witnessed it when I was coming of age in Israel, and then I witnessed it at a whole other scale as I was an adult and continuing to live in the United States. Initially in New York, then in the Midwest in Chicago, and then in California on the West Coast. And so as I've seen all these different environments, all these different ecosystems struggle with the same problem of having too much misinformation, too much information overload, and I kind of combine these two to describe it as a problem of misinformation overload. I wanted to do something about it. I felt, personally motivated because I've seen this problem affect my life and the life of people that I care about, and I've also seen this problem affect entire populations and societies as they shape their understanding of reality, of the world that they live in. And I think of this as an infrastructural project to help people lead a more confident, a more clear-minded, and a more informed, more connected life. And, it wasn't until coming to the United States where the American dream really rubbed off on me. And I kind of endeavored to start building a solution to what I saw as a problem across the entirety of my life.
So, who all your readers are? From what age to what age? And also, uh, are they beginner level or intermediate level or expert level? Who can understand uh, the researchers that they are trying to say about the news?
Yeah, we write at a very simple, in a very simple way, right? They don't have to be experts. They don't have to be some sort of advanced academics. We write, and the way we research, is meant to be for the everyday person. Somebody who maybe just arrived to the States, maybe doesn't have a strong command of English. Somebody who is maybe a student and hasn't learned all the concepts around the world just yet, around economics, politics. Somebody who is, may have had to skip education to go straight to work to provide for their family earlier than they had a chance to go to university. So we focus on people across all of these kind of positions. It is not just for the professional elite, as we like to call them. It is not just designed for people who are very sophisticated. It's designed literally for everyday people. And so that is the spirit of the project, is to create a high quality news research for everyday people. And so you don't need to be an expert English speaker. You don't need to be an expert political or economic expert. You can just be an everyday person, and you can understand the work that we do, and you can benefit from it, because that's who we design for.
How to subscribe it and where to subscribe it?
Sorry?
How to subscribe it and where to subscribe it?
How to subscribe to the service?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have multiple ways. We have three ways, actually. I know you reached out to me on Instagram, so actually one of the ways is sending a message to our Instagram account. I can get you signed up. The other way is to go through our web portal, through our website. It's about a 2-second sign up where you just put in your phone number, your name, and you press go. And then the third way is actually to text a toll-free number that we run again in North America. You can text anything, but if you text hello, you will get right into our flow. We run the entirety of the project through SMS. So there's no passwords, there's no account management, there's no app, there's no website. It is all run. There's also no email. It is all run through SMS. And so the way you sign up for the product is, essentially by texting us. But you can do that through Instagram, through the web, through our website, or directly texting our toll-free number.
So you have email service as well. What is it and how it works?
You know, we think of SMS as our flagship product. It enables us to do our best work, and that's kind of what we go to market with. SMS for us creates this feeling of immediacy as well as the feeling of minimalism, because there's not so much text or so many images or videos that you can put through SMS. And we really care about being very mindful with how we leverage the reader's time and how we're being very efficient with their attention and their time so that it doesn't take too much of their day. And that's what we go to market with, right? We talk about our SMS product, that is our flagship. Well, we have some readers, and it's usually geared towards existing readers who actually prefer to use email instead of SMS. And so we still support them, and we have our email structure, which is the same product, just run instead of SMS through email. But we don't actually promote it so publicly, right? This is my first time kind of talking about it much more openly, because it's not our main kind of flagship product. So if somebody outside of the United States wants to join our service and wants to see our research, they can do so through email. But generally, it is not something that we kind of put forward as a main as our main value, because we really are very set on our SMS.
So the topics that you touched, you have already said what news that you actually share with your through your service. Can you be more precise? What all those uh, notifications are?
Absolutely. So we only send one SMS message per day, and we do it in the morning. Our reader can set the time as to what time they'd like to receive the message, right? So it can be very early, it can be a little bit later in the day. They get to choose a time. We only send one SMS per day in that sort of morning range. And in that SMS, we cover between 5 to 6 stories that are always ranked by significance, the most important first, the least important last. Um, and because, a single message is not so long, but because we text every single weekday morning, over a course of a week or even a couple of weeks, you develop a habit for reading news in this high signal, low noise way that trains a habit of keeping up with the world, being informed, being, mindful of what's happening around you, being aware, and yet not being too drained, too exhausted, and too overwhelmed by the reading experience because there's no images, there's no videos, there's no, many other things to click or links or pop-ups or advertisements. None of that exists in our product. And it's something we take very seriously. And so that's the message, right, that you get. That's that daily, every weekday mechanic. And in terms of the coverage, like what are the stories that we care about? It's really all about significance. How much does it change the human condition? But in terms of the themes that range, it really, traverses very broadly, right? It ranges from politics to the economy to markets, big public company movements, big private company movements, looking at technology, like technological breakthroughs, large actions in the world of AI, in the world of tech more generally, scientific breakthroughs, meaningful advancements in different scientific fields that are pushing civilization forward. We also look at cultural phenomenon, so really large-scale protests, looking at large-scale cultural movements. We look at healthcare, right? Things that are affecting a whole population, so vaccination rates, outbreaks of certain disease in certain areas. We look at foreign relations, right? So big pacts between United States and Europe, between India and Pakistan, between Iran and any African country. We look at these are all just random examples. We look at foreign relations as well. Like we look at trade. We look at what goods are being shared across the world and how that's changing. And we look at all these fields. I just named a couple. We look at all these fields that change the human life on Earth, and we prioritize them based on the most significant. And every single day, you get the extract that has been human researched and verified, and we take full responsibility for the factuality and accuracy of the work. And every morning, you get an update of essentially what changed the world in the last 24 hours.
How many characters that text is?
It is always less than 1,500 characters. So it's about 150 words.
Is it possible to put the information in that characters every time?
Sorry?
Is it possible for you to put the information about the topic in the 1,500 characters every time?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of our whole point is we focus on the very, very essentials for any single topic. Like we don't do any commentary, we don't do any analysis, and we don't try to impose how people should feel about a certain topic. And so when you look at most news stories, they are exactly that. They are stories, right? It's a commentator, it's a pundit, it's some kind of an opinion holder sharing a story of what is happening, whether it's a good or a bad thing, how you should feel about it. And that's the news storytelling layer that we do not do, right? We focus on just the facts of what has happened, what has changed the world. And so an example of that very literally, if for example, there is a news story that maybe pull up a specific example. So this is from this morning, right? One of these news stories is as follows. G7 leaders, US, Canada, UK, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan, agreed to, quote, reform global development finance system, prioritizing private investment, debt relief, and supply chains to reduce developing countries' aid reliance. So this is a direct kind of quoted statement by G7 leaders, which are the countries that I named. And it is a statement that, it's an event that happened, right? They have made this proclamation. Another example is Chinese AI company DeepSeek raises 7.4 billion at a 50 billion valuation in its first funding round, becoming China's most valuable AI startup. Another example is Democratic Republic of Congo. Ebola outbreak reaches 782 confirmed cases and 181 deaths 1 month after detection. Following outbreak record, 72 case daily increase. World Health Organization warns, quote, contact tracing remains below containment targets, quote. So, these are three examples, one around, global finance, one around, the private markets in China and AI, and third is about healthcare and a healthcare outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa. And so when you read kind of like this digest, right, you're able to see the facts that are confirmed. Essentially, you focus on what happened, where did it happen, when did it happen, and what is the very immediate context that you need to know in order to understand this event. But we stop short of providing any kind of commentary or any kind of opinion because we want our readers to make up their own mind on things, right? So whatever the topic is, our reader decides how they feel or what they think about it. We just give them the ingredients to make up their own mind.
So how much a user need to pay for this?
Yeah, so we run a free version of the product. So technically, a user would never actually need to pay us at all. If they do not want, if they want to become a contributing reader, which is kind of how we call our subscribers, we we quote it in dollar terms, but we charge $55 per year.
Okay. So how many users you have, readers you have?
Yeah, we don't share our readers' number publicly.
Okay. So they are from everywhere in North America.
Yeah, I would say that the vast majority of our users really are concentrated in North America because that's where we operate our main product, right? So every single state in the United States and Canada, that's what kind of we do with our flagship product. But from email, we have broad range, essentially users on every single continent, and I think almost in every single country.
So how you are able to manage and maintain both?
Both the email and SMS.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think of them as completely different products. They're just different channels for the same product. And so the work and the research is the same, right? We focus on world-changing world news for all of our users. That does not change. It's just that our users in the United States leverage it through SMS, while our users globally use email.
So what's your goal?
I think our goal really is to become the default alternative to legacy news media, allowing people who do not want to read stories, who do not want to be influenced, to still find an efficient way to stay informed.
So at last, as a CEO, as a founder, and I have another question: how you're using AI or technology for this?
Yeah, we use a lot of technology to help us access, scrape, synthesize, analyze information. But in our research, it is very much human-led. So the responsibility layer stays with the human, right? So, humans ultimately decide what works and what doesn't, and what is credible and what is not credible. And every time that we release and we publish our work, we take full responsibility for it. So unlike using a Perplexity or ChatGPT or anything of the sort to talk about news, we actually can take full responsibility, and we do on a daily basis behind every SMS and every news research report that we send, every briefing, we take full responsibility for that. And so our use of technology is enabling, right, because we use a lot of different technology to expand our capacity, but it is ultimately not we don't hand over the responsibility to our technology. We keep that with us humans, and we don't intend to change that anytime soon. We also use more technology for the rest of our business than we do for the actual research, right? So we use a lot of technology and AI to run our, you know, our kind of, company plumbing, right? So everything from our finances to our team structures to our reporting to our billing to, a lot of the back end of things. Rather, our research continues to be very much human-led. So there's least technology being used on the research side, and most of our technology and AI use is actually in running the company itself, rather than running the research.
So as a news provider through text message to North America and also the news provider to the world through email. So what's your observation about my work?
Sorry?
What's your observation about my work?
I think you're doing a great project with, having conversations with people who are building, who are creating ideas and solving the world's problems. I'm just one small example in that broader pool, and so I'm humbled to speak with you. But I think the project that you're on to kind of ask, good probing questions among builders and problem solvers, I think is really great. So it's exciting to see that you are on this path, and that you've just started, I feel like, recently, but you've already gone pretty far. So it's exciting to see you on this mission.
I have done masters in software engineering, also bachelor's in computer science and engineering. Right now, I'm working as a DevOps engineer for a London company remotely from India. So that's my full-time role. Apart from that, I'm interviewing experts like you who are solving different problems and who are serving the society and who are serving the humanity in different ways. So me having a technology background and having conversations like entrepreneurs like you, how this conversation, these diversified conversations are going to be useful and helpful for me in future and to my audience.
Yeah, I do think it's a great mission that you're on with running the podcast and the conversations. Um, I don't know, I can't speak for all your guests, but um, at least I hope our episode and our conversation together can help people think about the problem space of news media and the problem space of attention, and hopefully feel motivated or curious or even inspired to think about finding solutions to problems that exist across news media. Informed.Now and our work is just one solution on a much broader landscape. And so if there are others who are thinking about these problems and are interested in connecting, with me, with us, the invite is out. And so I'm hopeful to just get more people thinking about the space.
So can I put this conversation on my podcast with your permission?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Thank you, Kira, again for your valuable time and sharing about your work and answering to some of my questions. And I believe your work reaches all over the world.
Thank you, Sai, for having me. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I'm glad we got to do this.
Thank you. Take care.